for the campaign for the Law Society of Kenya presidential ticket. Peter Wanyama, who is contesting for the presidency of the Law Society of Kenya, has a manifesto that is all-inclusive. We'll start with the youngest admitted advocate, those ones that were admitted the other day, to give us reason as to why they believe that Peter Wanyama is a candidate of choice. We'll have one lady and one gentleman to echo that voice.
Good morning, everyone. Peter Wanyama has been a man who has dedicated his life to championing for the legal prosperity of every advocate and the Kenyan citizens at large. As an advocate, Peter Wanyama has demonstrated beyond doubts and absolutely that he is the man for the job. He has encouraged the young advocates to stand up for themselves. He has taught them about the areas of practice. He has told them that this is the way it is.
Today is the last day for the campaigns for the Law Society of Kenya presidential candidates. In the ballot, there are other candidates. Today we have brought the front runner, Peter Wanyama, to do his final submission to the whole country, to present his manifesto and what he stands for.
Wanyama Ongurapus as our 51st Law Society of Kenya president. He has cut a niche for himself, and other than that, he's got the verve, the courage to lead this body of lawyers, in that he has even remembered them that had been forgotten in the profession, that is the in-house counsels. He's promised that when he gets that post as the LSK president, he's going to champion for the council members to establish a representation of the in-house councils, and those are the people that had been forgotten in the previous regimes. Equally, those people that are competing against Peter Wanyama, they have been in the council previously, beginning from being Nairobi representatives. Currently, some of them are serving second in command in that society, but there's nothing that really they stand for that we can clearly demonstrate and say that this is what we've benefited as councils. I'm a newly admitted advocate, and I vouch for Peter Wanyama. This is a rallying call, just like my colleagues have stated. Would request all the senior bars, mid-bars, and young advocates to come out in large numbers on 29th of February 2024 and vote for Peter Wanyama as our next LSK president. Thank you very much.
Christine.
Here to endorse Peter Wanyama's candidature. We have been on the campaign trail for the last about 4 months, and today we bring it to a close. Myself, I do endorse Peter Wanyama for particular reasons. Number one, it is because his manifesto and even his agenda fully focuses on bread and butter issues for the legal profession, or rather the advocates. He talks about the very problems that are facing the legal profession and how exactly he intends to solve those problems. None of the other candidates is telling us how they intend to solve those problems. None of those other candidates is telling us that they will use legislative mechanisms and even policies to try and solve the problems that Peter Wanyama talks about, rather the problems that face the legal profession. Number two, when you look at the political development in this country as it is right now, we need a very, very bold LSK president. We need a president who's very strategic in nature, and as such, we need a president who will speak against the excesses of the executive, the excesses of of the government when it comes to Kenyans and even the legal profession. And as such, that is why I will be endorsing Peter Wanyama. That is why I'm making a rallying call to every single advocate that we need somebody who's strong enough, somebody who can face the government, somebody who can say the most uncomfortable things, and somebody who can speak up against the executive arm of government. The other thing is that the LSK is not an opposition party, and that is one thing we all need to know, that the LSK is not an opposition party. all. The LSK does not need somebody who aligns with a particular political party, and as such, we must get away from the idea that the Law Society of Kenya is an opposition party. It is not an opposition party at all. When you look at Section 4 of the Law Society of Kenya Act, there is actually a clause that says that the LSK has a role of advising government when need be. And as such, I believe that Peter Wanyama will do it very strategically. He will mobilize for the Law Society of Kenya strategically, even when engaging with government and other stakeholders. And as such, once again, I call upon the young bar, I call upon the mid bar, I call upon the senior bar to turn up on the 29th of February, 2 days from now, and vote for Peter Wanyama as the next president of the Law Society of Kenya.
Omondi.
Promises and nirvana, zeal, zest, venturesomeness, determination, and enthusiasm. I support Peter because Peter is a strong man. Peter is unwavering. Peter believes in the rule of law. Peter has personally filed 99 petitions to defend devolution. This is a man who, when given opportunity, he will serve us with excellence. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. We must make noise. We must speak. And we're speaking because we have a choice. Where's the choice? The choice is here. Peter Manyonge Wanyama for president. Thank you.
History is being made. The 27th of February 2024. The figure 27 is very critical. The 27th of August 2010, a new constitution was promulgated. That constitution is also being presented today. That constitution governs us as a country. The rule of law, the independence of the judiciary, and the strengthening of the Law Society of Kenya came to be born on the 27th of August 2010. Today, I present to the Republic the candidate the lawyers will vote for on the 29th of this month, Peter Wanyama. The reason for Peter Wanyama, and there are no excuses for that, are four. One, unlike the competitors who have made the Law Society of Kenya a career, people have been there for the last 15 years. They have not run their private practice. They have made the Law Society of Kenya, from the branches of Nairobi branch, it goes to the national office. We want a change. We want somebody who is clean. Out of the 5 candidates, only Peter Wanyama has never been a council member, has never been in leadership of the Law Society of Kenya. So we want to take home career people, career advocates who have made the Law Society of Kenya their place of choice. 2, mentorship is a product where students leave the Kenya School of Law, come for pupillage, and then they are admitted as advocate. Only Peter Wanyama runs a successful law firm. Only Peter Wanyama has pupils all over the whole country. Only Peter Wanyama has associates employed in his law firm. We challenge the others to show us who they have mentored, who they have been pupil masters, and their track record. Third, this is a man who has come from poverty, from grass to grace. Therefore, the question of money being stolen, the corruption at Law Society of Kenya will cease because Peter Wanyama has his own resources. He will not depend on the resources of LSK. To the surprise of many Kenyans, the Law Society of Kenya annually receives more than 1 billion Kenya shillings. Where does that money go? That is the money that we want Peter Wanyama to manage. Lastly, I bring to you a manager, a successful practitioner, a successful entrepreneur, a person with a family. His wife is an advocate of the Law Society of Kenya. We will be asking that for this time, we want a family man, we want somebody who is tested, who can provide the virtues and the morals and the values of Article 10 and Article 45 that provides for family values. Lastly, the debate about quacks. 2012, the Law Society of Kenya was in the hands of the likes of Akide, Eric Mutua. There were no quacks. From 2013-2014, quacks started entering the Law Society of Kenya. The people who allowed quacks to flourish are now pretending to be removing the quacks and arresting them. You cannot arrest yourselves. You cannot arrest vifaranga ulizozaa wewe mwenyewe. The only clean man is Peter Wanyama, who is coming without any taint, without any blemish. Allow me, the whole country, 55 million Kenyans, to present the candidate of choice, the man of power, the man who can deliver the Law Society of Kenya from the bondage that we have. Peter Wanyama, karibu.
Thank you. In the legal profession, allow me to once again reintroduce myself. My name is Peter Wanyama Omurapus. That is the PMO. For those ones who are eager to know, I was born 43 years ago in the peas and farms in Bungoma County, a place known as Chepais. Today I am standing before you to formally confirm that we have run a successful campaign for the Law Society of Kenya President. And I want to begin by thanking all Kenyans and advocates for believing in my cause. It is a cause that will transform the Law Society of Kenya, a cause that will reset leadership at the Law Society of Kenya. And we believe that under my tenure as Law Society of Kenya President, we will do what it takes to be able to once again reconnect with Kenyans. In terms of my campaign manifesto, it is based at the foremost on the question of protecting the sovereignty of Kenyans. And allow me to just say something here. To the residents of Vikobani in Miritini in Mombasa, if you are watching this coverage, just know that Law Society of Kenya has listened to your cry. That gas company that is emitting toxic waste to the environment, that gas company in Vikobani in Miritini in Mombasa, that is emitting a lot of gas, bad waters that has damaged the environment. Kids are suffering from cancer. People in Vikobani have health problems because of that gas company. I want to state that henceforth, the Law Society of Kenya will be responsible for the pushing through of the rights of all Kenyans, including the people of Vikobani in Mombasa, who yesterday went to the media and complained severely that the government of Mombasa, the government of Kenya, is doing nothing. NEMA, they are doing nothing to protect the residents of Vikobani from toxic gas emission. Under the Constitution of Kenya, every Kenyan has a right to clean environment. And it is the responsibility of the Law Society of Kenya, and under my leadership, to listen to every concern of Kenyans to ensure that we protect your right to clean environment, and we are going to do what it takes to immediately address that problem, the problem of Vikobani in Miritini in Mombasa. We will not allow Kenyans to suffer, yet the Law Society of Kenya has a mandate under Section 4 of the LSK Act to protect the public and to advise government on legal issues. So to me, that I believe is a core function that we are going to implement. Members of the public just know that we are going to utilize our resources in the legal profession to ensure that we protect public interest of Kenyans. And therefore, the residents of Vikobani in Miritini, Mombasa, please, we are going into a new leadership from next week. When we get elected this Thursday, we are going to do what it takes to ensure that we immediately file a public interest case at the Land and Environment Court in Mombasa. We will liaise with the Mombasa Law Society to ensure that we protect your rights to a clean environment. And let this message go throughout in Mombasa and throughout Kenya. Every company that is damaging our environment, we will do what it takes as Law Society of Kenya to provide that sufficient backing to you, because that is our mandate. Secondly, on the question of protecting the sovereignty of Kenyans, I also want to assure members of the legal profession and Kenyans that under my leadership as Law Society of Kenya President, we will fully protect your sovereignty. We will fully protect your sovereignty as Kenyans, because we know at the moment that you are actually suffering. The economic situation is not very good. Most Kenyans don't have disposable income in their pockets. There is a problem because throughout the household economy, we cannot afford basic services as Kenyans.